Right, it's 11 o'clock, and welcome to the International Force Rape Timeline. I'm going to call this episode, this hangout, letter to Liam. It's about Liam Allan, but there's a lot of other things to cover. I see the two of you. I hope there's still two of you. Two people who liked it. If you like watching me without saying anything. Right. Yeah, the first one about 7 people, but it's gone downhill since then. But I'll keep making these. I was going to do one on child sexual abuse this today, but this is sort of overridden it. Lots of other things to cover before that. Before Liam. Firstly, another shout out to my site sponsors. I said last time I have 2 site sponsors related primarily to the site is Michael Stone Guilty, which is about the man who's fitted up for the Schindler murders. Last month, my second site sponsor gave me a substantial donation, which will enable me to put this timeline, the Force Rape timeline, on its own domain, which I'll be doing. Probably be by the domain next month. And last Friday, actually, I had a problem with a chair. I bought a chair through Amazon. It was absolute crap, and I ended up throwing it out and losing money. And last Friday, my first site sponsor, the guy I've known for some time, turned up with a chair. You got to see, it was a beautiful chair. I would only say to him, it's left me in the pink. So thank you for that. So it's nice to have people who appreciate your work. I've got 267 subscribers at the moment, and yet I advertised this hangout on where is it? It says, the advert for it on the channel says, oh dear, where is it? It's I think it says one view. If I go into my actual account, the video manager, it says 13 views. Well, at least one of those is mine. So I expect you're familiar with what's going on with this woke capital and this hate campaign against anyone remotely conservative, and the boycotts and everything, and the shadow banning. I've definitely been shadow banned, no doubt about that. And I've had some of my videos pulled which are totally innocuous. I have 267 subscribers. I picked up about 9 or 10. So can I ask you, and to pass on, if you hit the bell at the top, I think the top right hand corner, is it? If you hit the bell, which is the top right hand of your right hand of the channel, when that will subscribe to and notify you time I upload a new video. They're not all about the full set time, but I'm not doing a great deal of other stuff on YouTube. Right, I've got here an opinion, a legal opinion here. What's this? Remember this? Judiciary. Oh yes. No, it isn't an English one. I was looking at some just doing some surfing, and there's a bloke called Baxter who's Indiana, has just been given a 30-year sentence for rape. The interesting feature of the case is that the woman who's convicted of raping had accused a man of rape before, but apparently the case wasn't proceeded with, which suggests that suggests that she wasn't raped the first time, and and also that maybe she may lie this time. He was convicted, he appealed, and these appeals have been rejected. Having read the appeal, I'm inclined to think she was raped. So I mean, it does happen that women, a couple of cases on the timeline of women who've cried rape and then been raped, and also of men who've committed rape or sexual offences and have been falsely convicted. The latter probably because their names in the database, etc. But rather interestingly, I found on this case, part of the case law is another case. Eugene something. Indiana case of a bloke who was convicted of child sexual offences, and this is where is it? Stephen Harvey State. No, it's a bloke Eugene something, and let me find it. It was an allegation which was made years down the line, as a lot of these cases tend to be, and it looks incredibly dubious. So I might dig that out when I actually do the hangout on the false child allegations of child sexual abuse. Kevin Spacey has been in the news, as you may know. He was, I think he said he's bisexual, he's actually a homo, and there's a rather ridiculous attempt to set him up with the son of some journalist, and it's absolutely ridiculous what happened. And the case against him was a rather pathetic case, but this ludicrous ban effect of people jumping on. But this I think it was clearly a setup. It's quite conspicuous. Some woman has come forward and accused George Clooney of doing something, as if as Jay Raskin said, this may not be a bad thing. Along with the Kavanaugh, if you saw the Kavanaugh confirmation, that the way they treated him was absolutely disgraceful. These demon rats. But Jay Raskin, an American academic, said that this may not be a bad thing because you got all these ostensibly powerful men, high-profile men being falsely accused now, and they may get the message that it can happen to them. Let me do something about it. We need statutes of limitations in this country. They have to enforce statutes of limitations elsewhere, and there have to be severe penalties. I do mean severe penalties for false accusers of both sexes. There's another case here. Gwent police officer suspended over sexual assault claim. This was August 8th. 2 senior police officers. I think what's happened here is one's been accused of sexually assaulting or groping a woman, and the other has been accused of covering up, as if. But these are ridiculous. These cases, At one time, when I was growing up in the 1960s, if a guy had wandering hands, it was different. He was a police officer or a doctor or something like that. But if a guy has wandering hands, and the woman wasn't wasn't up for it, you should slap his face or something, and that would be the end of it. But now the guy's got to be dragged into court. If he's done it, he'll be dragged into court, put on the sex offenders register, and even if he hasn't, that may well happen. Been some interesting developments in that Cyprus case. The woman the teenager who accused this gang of Israeli tourists of teenagers of raping her. I think it was 19. So it's quite old now. A lawyer has quit, and her parents have set up a crowdfund for her, and people have contributed. A couple of Israeli citizens have contributed substantial sums. I will say to the Israeli, if you want to assist somebody, if you're an Israeli and you want to assist somebody, how about making a donation to some disabled Palestinian kid who's been put in a wheelchair by the IDF or something like that. Not this case, which I'm not. Obviously innocent until proven guilty, but a girl who's been raped by 12. She wouldn't be able to walk. The big story, of course, is Jeffrey Epstein. His suicide. It's officially now a suicide, but you'll find it difficult to convince many people on the extreme right and the extreme left and in the middle that it was actually a suicide. I think it probably was, because it's incredibly. How he was allowed to do it, I don't know, but would he have implicated lots of other people? Maybe, but falsely. I certainly don't believe all this rubbish that's been about Ghislaine Maxwell. Virginia Roberts is still getting a lot of publicity because she claimed. Her story is that. Excuse me, a bit of sniffle. We've had a wonderful summer, but the past couple of days have been quite a bit of rain and temperatures dropped a bit. Virginia Roberts says she's been in Coffee, Virginia Coffee, whatever her name is now, Goyfrey. She's made all these claims, but she wasn't a victim. She certainly wasn't forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. I mean, the photograph on the web with her age 17, with Andrew's got his arm around and Ghislaine Maxwell's in the background. Virginia Roberts was a whore, and rather than being a victim of Epstein, she was. She should be on she should have been on any indictment. I don't see why she shouldn't. It's all right saying she was 16 at the time and the age of consent in Florida was 18. Well, at some point, people, especially women, have to take responsibility for their actions, even young women. She was recruiting, by her own admission, she was recruiting girls for him. Now, I mean, the serial killer Fred West met his second wife when she was 15 and corrupted her. But does that mean that she can't be held responsible for the murder she committed and the depravity she committed with him? No, of course not. So, what I would like to know is who is financing Virginia Roberts. Who's financed her? Because she's here in Australia. She's a housewife. Not of any great means. She was paid substantially by the Daily Mail, but by the Mail Online. But so I think somebody's pulling her strings. The Kenan Basic case, as you some of you may may remember or seen. Kenan Basic is this guy who's actually a Bosnian refugee in Australia. The textbook Good Samaritan. He helped this girl Kathleen Gray with her car, and then she falsely accused him of groping her and almost attempted rape. And the poor guy spent 2 weeks in jail before CCTV evidence exonerated him. She's in court. She's been given a jail sentence, but she's free on appeal. she's out on appeal. She's walking the streets, and she gave sort of half-hearted apology, and she still claimed he propositioned her. She's still a victim. She's absolutely outrageous. I don't believe a word she said. But what is very interesting is that he was arrested, I think, on November 22nd, and that was the date of the incident. But on November 29th, 2 women came forward, making similar allegations against him earlier in the year, and he's still got to go to court over those. So I mean, again, I don't believe a word of that. It's the trouble with allegations of any historicity is it's difficult to prove. They're impossible to disprove almost always. I think they should be thrown out because I think I don't know if they will admit they lied or what. But I can't see him. I can't see him having committed though. I mean, it's just outrageously these historical allegations. If you visit the timeline, you'll find lots of cases on there of women who've been refuted by their lies have been refuted by CCTV, sometimes by mobile phone evidence. And the question you should ask is, if this CCTV evidence did not exist, if this phone evidence, Liam Allan, we'll discuss later, phone evidence, in my case, my opinion, the case should never go anywhere near a courtroom. If this evidence did not exist, it's she said, he said. No physical evidence, she said, he said. And why would a woman lie? I mean, the basic case. If I'd been sitting on a jury and heard that, I'd be detected. Why would a girl falsely accuse a Good Samaritan? And it's quite likely I would have convicted him. With not just no motive to lie, but a motive not to lie. I mean, but it's just unbelievable. There's so many crazy bitches out there, and men. Don't forget, and men. It's utterly contemptible, that allegation. That's interesting. There was a case of a woman, Katie Brennan, accused a bloke named ex-Murphy starter sues Katie. Oh yeah, a woman named Katie Brennan accused a bloke. I think Murphy, and this was in an American website, and it's been pulled already. So I wonder if someone. Let's just see if I can retrieve it from the Internet Archive. It's actual page. No, I didn't. Should have archived it. But I'll keep a. It's a bloke. Katie Brennan, some woman accused a bloke of rape, and he's suing her. There's another one from Nigeria. Me Too. So accused a bloke named, I think, Basolo Dekolo or something. But it's in the early stages yet, so I won't be commenting on that at the moment. The daughter of Tina Turner says, I've seen her life story. It was, she had a bad marriage with Ike Turner, and there's a scene in that in which he sexually violated her. Tina Turner's, Ike Turner's dead now, he died a while back. Tina Turner's daughter said that the rape scene never happened in real life. Angie Bowie, the first wife of David Bowie, claims that she was drugged and raped when she was young, but she never told her husband. Really horrible case here. A woman who murdered her. There's two women in the news actually at the moment in the UK. But one murdered both her sons, and the other murdered both her daughters. The one woman who murdered both her sons is being given a mere 10-year sentence because she was depressed. Poor woman, depressed. The other one is no sympathy at all from any judge. She was a prostitute, and she murdered her two daughters because they were in her way, basically, so she could continue her sex work. Absolutely, two lovely kids as well, considering their mother was a whore. Harvey Proctor is. This will show you what scum the police are. He's in the news. He's got the police absolutely trashed him over that ludicrous VIP paedophile witch hunt, and he's putting an action against the police, and they're defending it, and they're trying to bankrupt him, of course, but he said he could be left bankrupt in the battle. I mean, the police are total cunts. The British police, don't believe any of this crap about the macho image. They're the total arseholes, the British police. The American police are psychopaths, but the British police, they've always been like that. But now, of course, they're politically correct as well. It's absolutely outrageous what they did to him, and they should settle. It isn't their money either. It's public money. I suggested a while back that the police union should be liable for, there's vicarious liability and qualified immunity. The police union should be liable for payouts, not the public person. Right. Let's get on to Liam Allan. As you may remember, Liam Allan was a student. He's still a student, actually. I think he's a PhD or something. He was accused of rape, and the case came. He hit the headlines in December 2017. And this is. I'll just play this clip. This is what the prosecution barrister Jerry Hayes said.
This was a very serious multiple rape case, and the woman, the person who made the allegations, had given her evidence. The defense counsel said to me, well, look, have you got a disc of the downloads from her telephone? And I said, no, I haven't seen it. CPS haven't seen it. I spoke to the officer of the case who's responsible for disclosure, and I said, look, have you got it? Yes, I have. But it's clearly not disclosable. I said, why is it not disclosable? He says, well, it's very personal matters. I said, and these are the two tests. Is there anything on that disc which could undermine the prosecution case or assist the defense? He says no, but I wasn't happy about that. I think, and I was right, that the defense should have that disc. We adjourned the case for a day. The defense saw on this disc information which completely blew the prosecution case out of the window. If they hadn't had that disclosure, this young man would have been sent to prison for 12 years and would have been on a sex offenders register for the rest of his life, with precious little chance of appeal. So this was a massive, massive miscarriage of justice, which, thank heavens, was avoided. There's no question of lying or misleading. It's just sheer incompetence, I'm afraid. The CPS and the police and all of us in the criminal justice system are under tremendous pressure because we're running out of money. This is a system which is not just creaking, it is about to croak. And if we have any more Treasury cutbacks, there will be more cases like this.
So that's rare exception, an honest barrister. Jerry Hayes was also a Conservative MP. Having said that, I will take issue with what he said. It's not about running out of money. It isn't about sheer incompetence. It is lying. And the police can always find money to bring some ludicrous cases. I mean, look at the Mark Pearson case, for example. In this case, now, Liam Allan. What can I say about Liam Allan? Liam is he actually lived. Oh, he doesn't live there now. He lived with not a stone's throw, but a decent walk from me, a 20-minute walk or so. Just down the road in Penge. What can I say about him? He's young. He's everything I'm not. He's young, handsome, intelligent, charismatic. But he's a total dickhead. I contacted him, and I tried to get some information out of him. Why did this woman falsely accuse him of rape? He was facing 16 charges, 12, I think 16 charges. Now, how can I put it? If he'd been living with her, if it had been rape effected by blackmail, because don't forget, rape isn't a case of simply holding a woman down, and it can be effected by blackmail. I heard a wonderful definition of rape years ago: the illicit carnal knowledge of a woman effected by force, intimidation, threats, or deceit as to the nature of the act. So it doesn't require actually force, But if she'd been like drugged or something, it should be dependent on him. You could make out a case, but apparently that they were living separately, students, and he's meant to have raped her 16 times. She keeps going back time and time and time again. Well, at some point you have to say, even if she says no and keeps saying no, her mouth is saying one thing, but her body's saying another. No doesn't always mean no. The same as yes doesn't always mean yes. If he says to her, "Can we do it?" and she says no, then grabs him by the arm and yanks him toward the bedroom. It's so how this case got anywhere near a court? How it got anywhere near a police station? How the police charged him, I don't know. So many have been brainwashed by this feminist narrative. Liam, he fawned on the police, said it wasn't their fault. I saw him cozying up to one of the so-called defectives. I asked him how she came to accuse me of rape. I suggested it wasn't her, but a student rape counsel or some such imbecile who put this idea in her head, and he wouldn't reply. I never got a reply. And I said to him, look, if it's these rape crisis people, I mean, they're toxic. You should have nothing to do with them. And he said, he never, he had nothing. I can't remember his exact words, but I was speaking to him through Facebook. He would never turn against people to help people to cope with trauma. No, it's nothing to do with trauma, coping with trauma. He had an article published an article written about him by Jennifer Sabin in Cosmopolitan. This is unbelievable. This absolutely. There's no real details about the case here. This is the first you have to do when you're accused of rape was tell people, your part-time employer, your university lecturer, girls you're about to date. So, and I believe he actually did continue dating girls while he was child. How can he do that? What sort of an arsehole are you? If another one of them accuses you, your goose is cooked. What happened with mattress girl Emma Solkovitz made a false allegation? What she did, before she falsely accused Paul Nungesser, she persuaded one of her friends or some other student to falsely accuse him of groping or something to bolster her case. Now, what if that had happened to you, Liam? What sort of arsehole are you? And he's gone on to form Innovation of Justice with. He's obviously women have got a thing about. I mean, not just sexual thing either, but there's loads of women surrounding him. Never turn against people, help people through trauma. Rape crisis is not about helping people through trauma, right? The sexual grievance industry, they would have what the Rape Crisis Network wants, what these people want, what these women want, these demented hags want, is they want men convicted, and they don't want them to be able to defend themselves. If you know, in Canada, right, that exculpatory evidence may not have even been allowed. There are no jury trials of rape in Canada. That hag Julie Bindel doesn't want jury trials here. She wants rape trials to be decided by judges. Yeah, so a judge can be brave. Well, obviously, you've got more chance of being cleared by a jury because you've got 12 people, one or two who made dissent was a judge, but they want convictions. They would have been quite happy to see you convicted. They're not interested in due process. They don't want due process. They're not interested in evidence, right? As far as they're concerned, if a man is accused of rape, he's guilty. That's the bottom line. You know, after Alexander Economou was cleared of, Eleanor de Freitas committed suicide, he tried to bring a private prosecution. Lisa Longstaff of Women Against Rape went on BBC. She went on the Victoria Derbyshire programme. And she didn't name him, but she said she was being sued by her rapist. She said it twice, sued by a rapist. A rapist. Economou did his own detective work. He found she claimed to have been drugged and raped, and he found CCTV evidence of them. The two of them visiting the shop after this is meant to have happened. But this is good enough for that. You know, as far as they're concerned. This is natural behaviour of women. You know, it's okay if a woman claims to be raped by a guy 6 months ago and she was still dating him last week. Well, don't you believe women? Oh, this is the bullshit about rape trauma syndrome. It's absolutely outrageous. I find it difficult to believe that a guy's been through what he's been through would white knight for these hags, these arseholes. I wrote a letter to they want convictions. Show you about now. This is I've mentioned this before on a live hangout, but I'll mention it again. This is what appears on the website of the rape crisis, Surrey and Sussex. I can find this actual. What is rape? Legal definitions. Consent is. What does the law mean in practice? Now, listen to this. It means that if a man has ever penetrated you without you wanting to, it is rape. No, it isn't. That is not the definition of rape. It means that consent is not given for it means that consent is not given freely when force or pressure or threats are used. Like, if you loved me, you would. No. If a guy says to a woman, "If you love me, you'll drop your knickers," and she says no, and he walks out the door, and that you can call him a pig, you can call him a cad, you can call him whatever you want, but that is not rape. I wrote to the CPS about this, sent it by mail, ignored. I wrote to the DPP, ignored. I sent a copy to the Attorney General, ignored. So what does that tell you? And this nonsense is still on there. Yeah, they want convictions. They don't care how they get them. If you visit a hospital, especially an accident emergency department, you often see on the wall. Last time I was at Lewisham Hospital, for a routine appointment, there's a notice on the wall about drinking, advising women not to drink heavily and then get, stay with a group, don't drink too much, yada yada yada. They call this victim blaming. These cunts, they would rather what they would rather see is they would rather see a woman get drunk and get raped and a guy convicted than the same woman get in a taxi and go home and not be right. This is their mentality. They want convictions. And so you've got this way who have all these lies about consent. No, they're not mistakes. They didn't make mistakes about this. Lies about consent. Lies about the statistics they pull out of thin air. Ludicrous statistics. The idea that there's over 1,000 women raped in this country every week and they don't report. It's garbage. They want convictions. I don't care how they get them. And the continued attack on due process, on justice. And Liam's fallen for this. It's unreal. They're not on your side. They don't want justice, right? They don't want justice for rape victims. They don't want justice. They certainly don't want justice for men falsely accused of rape. And the mentality is that women who falsely accuse men of rape shouldn't face prosecution. Oh, very occasionally, a woman should be prosecuted for wasting police time, but never for the cause of justice. They even support when women against rape. They even supported Rhiannon Brooker. If you're not familiar with the Rhiannon Brooker case, that is one of the worst cases, false rape allegations ever. I don't mean in recent years. I mean in history. This woman, she Brooker, she was a law student, and she systematically dripped lies to her circle for months, faked injuries, and a victim, Paul Fenton, spent 35 days in prison. And he was facing a potential life sentence. It was that bad. And when police looked further to strengthen the case against him, they found exculpatory evidence. And she got, and then they dragged her in. She falsely accused her own father. So she claimed she'd been sexually abused as a child. And I was like, oh, bullshit! Every time, they will not accept responsibility of these women. It's always a man's fault. There's always some pathetic excuse. This is a woman, a female psychopath, who set this guy for this Kenan Basic case, for no rational reason, and they will defend women like that. Rape crisis, it was rape. So if they had their way, there would be no such thing as exculpatory evidence for rape. The ludicrous statistics. Some of these people even sell on their websites that they promote the courage to heal. One of the most perfidious books ever written. This is a clip from the Rape Crisis Center in Cleveland, Ohio. I'll use this in when I do the child sexual abuse. But listen to this.
When I was 3 or 4 years old, I was molested and raped by my best friend at the time's father, who lived across the street from us. And I completely forgot about what had happened until I was almost 16 years old. I remembered rather suddenly. And then when I was 18, my best friend brought me down here for treatment because we didn't know what else to do. I didn't want my family to know. I didn't want anyone to know. At first, I was so scared of telling anyone. And it was just horrifying to realize that everything I thought I knew about myself wasn't really correct. For survivors who are watching this, who haven't come in yet, who for some reason you're scared or you don't think someone will believe you or you don't think you have the money, the treatment here is free and it can really change your life. And I understand why you'd be scared. I was terrified. I almost kept going on the bus instead of getting off on the bus stop to come here. And everyone was really nice. They were really friendly.
Everyone's really nice and friendly, and the treatment is free. They brainwash you. I mean, this is a girl who was. What can you remember when you were 4 years old? I'll do something about this. she raped when she was 4 years old. She'll get us about it till she's 16. No. this is a girl who's I don't doubt her sincerity. She's confabulating. Childhood amnesia, and she's she goes to this rape crisis centre, and instead of telling her the truth, I think medical records would have something, if a 4-year-old had been raped. But instead of telling her the truth, they feel all this crap about being sexually abused. This is not something new. But this has been known since for over 100 years. And they want convictions. These people, and they don't care how they get them. Liam is going along with this. It's unbelievable, and he's doing his he's doing a project. It's part of my end of the year project for his MSc in it's MSc. No, he won't do a PhD yet. MSc in Psychology Conversion Program at the University of Greenwich. Title project: Exploring juror decision making in sexual offence cases, and it's a questionnaire. I've had this through Facebook, and it's got the name of his tutor and stuff. Please enter your unique personal number. The same one, is it? Yeah. Let's put in any data there. Please tick one of the boxes your gender, well, and sex actually, not male, female, or other. It's just unbelievable. Now in this scenario about and it's defendant denies rape claim, but Sally consented. Imagine you're a jury member, if you understand, jump sums up, and it's lots of stuff here. I'll just continue to answer a question. Right wing authoritarian scale. People should pay people should pay less attention to the Bible. Women should always remember the promise they made in marriage. Just garbage here. And what's this got to do with one good way to teach people right wing authoritarian scale? Continue to answer the question. The acceptance of modern myths about sexual aggression, the AMMSA scale. I mean, I'll have to write something about that. When it comes to sexual contact, women expect men to take the lead. Well, what's a myth got to do? Some do, some don't. But there's this. Once a man and woman have started making out, a woman's misgivings about sexual relations. A lot of women strongly complain about sexual infringements for no real reason, just to appear mentally paid. To get custody for their children, women often force to accuse their ex-husband of tendency towards sexual violence. And this is meant to be a myth, eh? After a rape, women nowadays receive ample support. Well, some do, some don't. Some receive too much support for rape, but never happened. Anyone who's careless enough to walk through dark alleys at night is partly to blame when she's to be raped. This is absolute garbage. Look, this is this victim blaming rubbish. And it goes on and on like this. Nowadays, men who really sexually assault women punished justly. Well, it depends. Continue without answering. It's even got the Illinois rape myth scale here. I've got you'll find discussion of that on the False Rape timeline. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's it's in the Illinois rape myth scale. Do you have any investment experience in miscarriage of justice? Well, I'll put neither. Information research is focused. Press the arrow, submit your response. Thank you. It's just absolutely, and it's going along with these. I mean, look, if we want to stop rape. Well, you might stop rape, you want to stop murder, but if you want to minimise rape and bring rapists to book, the ways to do it. The sexual grievance industry has to be shut down. If not shut down, it should be totally defunded. I mean, as I said, the police are cunts, but they're the only cunts who are capable of investigating these sort of things. It's the proper. I mean, the police can, when they set their minds to it, they can carry out stellar investigation. We've seen this even with rape cases, rape and false rape cases, and more murder cases. They put in the legwork, they do the research, the forensics, and they can get stellar results. But the sexual grievance industry has no place in it's nothing to do with justice. So that is my message to Liam. It's absolutely ridiculous that somebody's been through what he went through, would side with these lunatics and these well, they're women who have bad agendas, put it that way, and they have male supporters as well. They have white knights and manginas. Anyway, that's my. I had to get off my chest because I'll do some more work on that. I'll add Liam's Cosmopolitan article to the Full Slope Timeline as well. But it's absolutely ridiculous that the extent of brainwashing and then they're totally immune to facts. They have this agenda and they keep pressing on with it. Anyway, thank you for coming, all of you, and I'll make this private and add some notes to it and put it on the on my YouTube account in a day or two. And next month, hopefully, I'll add it to the Internet Archive. The next live hangout, I want to do one on child sexual abuse because this is very important. We've been told so many lies about this, and when you get people coming forward, men as well as women, 10, 20, 30 more years later, claiming they're sexually abused to kids or raped, it shouldn't be allowed. It's ludicrous. So thank you for coming, and anyone has any questions, you can drop me a line. You've got my address, and hopefully within a month or so, the Full Slope Timeline will be on its own dedicated domain.